The Friday Sports Riot.
I'ma start a ride.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportstownChicago.com.
What's up? This is the Friday Sports Riot on SportstownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Hoppy.
And I'm Ryan Stuppridge.
Call us 630-403-5200. That's 630-403-5200. And Ryan, who do we have on the phone line?
From 670 The Score, Herb Lawrence is on the Illinois Center for Broadcasting hotline. What's up, Herb?
What's up, gentlemen? How you feeling?
Good.
We are doing good. So how has everything been at 670 since we last had you on the show?
It's pretty much the same. A little busy today, especially, and all four teams playing exactly at the same time. It's going to be a little hectic, but the station is doing well. We are who we are right now. We're maintaining that.
Now, let's start off with talking about the Blackhawks, as they found themselves down 0-2, but have made a comeback, and they won the two home games that they played, and they're tied 2-2. And what has gone right for them to dig themselves out of that hole and get back in the series?
For the most part, I think that they're starting to believe they are who they are. They're the Blackhawks. The first two games and a little of the third game, they're lackadaisical. I mean, the little of the fourth game, they're lackadaisical, like waiting out the Blues and not being who they are, which is the Stanley Cup champions. And finally, they said, enough of this garbage. We are who we are, and Corey Crawford took it upon himself to shut out the Blues in Game 3. And Game 4, they had a lull period, about 30 minutes, and then something just clicked on them, and something just snapped, and they said, this is who we are. Let's put pucks to the net. It's not that hard of a game. Ryan Miller has been giving up a lot of goals to his short side, to his stick side, and that's how you see the game winner by Patrick Kane. Instead of doing a fancy pass there, it's like, you know what, let me shoot the puck at the net. It's a simple game, and people keep on saying it, but that's it. Ryan Miller's not that Ryan Miller that he used to be. And if you put pucks on net, you're going to either get a goal past them or opportunities for rebounds, and that's what they need to do. And that's what they have been doing the last two games, a little bit more than the first two. And it looks like Corey Crawford has stepped up a little bit more, except for that last goal he gave up to Tarasenko, which was a really, really soft goal.
Yes,
I think that's pretty much the only one he's given up. The other ones are, you can live with. The Tarasenko one-on-one goal. It was unquestionably a bad goal by him that he gave up.
Going back to Kane's goal, does that help seal his legacy or help build his legacy as one of the all-time greats in the NHL?
Yeah, when it comes to overtime goals, you saw the Philadelphia game, Stanley Cup winning goal. I think he had one last year versus the Red Wings and versus the Kings. So, when it's money time, the man's going to come through. And right before that, he had one that rang off the post. I thought that was even a better chance for them to score. Wasn't thinking that he was going to score on the one that he did score on.
Right.
So he's a guy where you give him space, he's deadly. And if you don't, he still can be an effective player. And I don't know if he's like the best of all time, but when it's crunch time, there's hardly a player I want on the ice more than him.
Now, the Hawks have given up late scoring chances in games 1 and 2 to the St. Louis Blues, where they ended up losing in overtime, but they had leads in the third quarter, or in the third period of play. So the Hawks, what can they do to prevent that from happening again?
Playing a 60-minute game. I think they get relaxed and get either tense or something happens at the end of the game because they're giving these late scoring chances up.
Right.
I understand that St. Louis is good. They're bringing the pressure on them, but it's more than a coincidence that these are happening. Late scoring chances are happening. I mean, Tarasenko's having he's the star of the series so far. He's just peppering the net, and you're seeing exactly why this team was like number one for the most of the year around the NHL, because they're junkyard dogs and they bring a physicality and a net front presence, as Jay Zawaski likes to say, that it's tough for sometimes you to see the puck. And I don't think the Blackhawks. I think the Blackhawks are much more talented than this team. When you look up and down the lineup, you say, well, how is this team even hanging with them? But something that Kid Hitchcock is doing and these players on the St. Louis Blues are doing doesn't it matches up well with the Blackhawks, especially down at the Scott Trade Center where the Blackhawks struggled mightily.
Herb, who do you have winning the game tonight, and how will this go down in St. Louis?
I think the Blues will win tonight's game because they haven't lost a game, I don't think, this whole season versus the Blackhawks. Just something about that place. But I do have the Blackhawks winning the whole thing, so that means they have to get one down in St. Louis, which I think is going to be a great Game 7 when they do win it all. I think it's next Tuesday, Game 7. I have the Blackhawks winning the series.
And now let's move on to the Bulls for a little bit. They are down 2-0 to the Wizards. And what do you think they need to do to get back in this series? And do you think they can win this game tonight?
I think they need to play Carlos Boozer more.
Okay.
I know people love to hate on Carlos Boozer, but the man is an offensive threat. You're not stopping Washington. You haven't stopped them in 2 games. They're getting the points no matter what. So you need a person that's going to at least pour in 15, 20 points consistently, no matter what. I know Taj Gibson got you 22, and that's great, but he got you in that in 17 shots. It's way too many shots to be getting you only 22 points, and he's not giving you that much more defense than Carlos Boozer would have got you. And they're not stopping the people who are doing the damage otherwise. So if you give Carlos Boozer 30 solid minutes, share him up with Taj Gibson, I think you're going to have a better effort tonight. 41 minutes is way too much for DJ Augustin, and he is the guy on the team right now scoring most of the points. So they need to get back to playing Bulls defense and give their players who can score goals the ball a little bit more, and Carlos Boozer is one of those guys.
I want to get your take on this, Herb. Why don't you think Tibbs tries to play Boozer more in like crunch time? Because he's making so much cash that it would make sense to have him in the game, since that's what he was brought in here for.
He doesn't like him. I think that's plain and simple. He doesn't like how he plays. I think he likes Taj. Taj listens to his whole philosophy. I think Carlos Boozer's like, all right, forget it. I'm going to get mine. They're going to amnesty me. It's not a big secret. I'm going to go out and get mine, which he does, and I'm going to play how Carlos Boozer plays, which is a loose-style game, but he's one of the players on the team that can get his own. Taj is not a back-to-the-basket guy. He's a garbage guy. He's a dunks guy, and he'll occasionally hit you a shot on the like 10 to 12 feet out. But Carlos can hit that shot probably at a 45, 60, 50% clip every time, and he can create his own to go into the hoop. We all get frustrated because of his lack of defense and those yelling, "Oh, go get it, Joe!" and those things. But the man is a decent offensive player where they need to score points. They're not doing what they need to do on the defensive end unless they're going to start playing better defense. And stop letting Washington shoot 50% in the first game, 48 in the second game. Then I don't see why Taj Gibson's getting bulk of minutes over Carlos Boozer.
If Boozer were to leave the Bulls at the end of the year, what would be your take on the Boozer era in Chicago?
Overall, probably everybody would say it was a failure, but I think Carlos Boozer did what he did. Carlos Boozer was Carlos Boozer.
Yeah.
People were expecting something else than what he gave you. He was exactly what you signed him for. Maybe you signed him to too much money because you had all that money saved up for Chris Bosh and or LeBron James, but he wasn't saying, I'm this defensive specialist, I'm this guy that's going to be giving you all this effort. I'm Carlos Boozer. This is what I do. I score buckets, I shoot jumpers, I'll drive to the hole a couple times, but that's about it. And I would say his career as a Bull was fine. It was all right. It was Carlos Boozer. But people mostly, I think public would say Carlos Boozer was a failure in Chicago because they're going to amnesty him. They're going to bring in a player, and you hear all the talk, they're going to bring in a player like Carmelo Anthony, where a few years ago, people were like, we don't want Carmelo Anthony because he doesn't play any defense. Now look at everybody. Man, we need somebody who can score buckets. And that's what you need in the NBA playoffs. There's no one on this roster they're looking at and say, you know what, we need to stop this guy. They say, DJ Augustin, enjoy your 25 points. We're going to win the game, though. You're not going to stop us from doing what we do, which the Bulls are usually good at, but you're not stopping us, and we don't have a person that on this lineup that we have to be worried about going off offensively.
And speaking of Carmelo Anthony, do you think there's a legitimate shot that he could come to Chicago, or is he going to go to somewhere like the Lakers or stay in New York or what?
The Phil Jackson wrinkle that they put in late in the season really throws a wrench in the Bulls' plans because that's the greatest coach of all time. He's not going to be coaching this year, but how are you going to not listen to the guy with 12 rings?
Yeah.
So 12 or 11, I forgot which it is. It's a lot. But how are you not going to listen to that guy if he says, I'm going to have a plan for you, maybe not this year, but next year? Because the year after, they have no one signed up. And they're ready to bring some money to the table for the Knicks. And maybe he can bring a plan for them and have Carmelo stay. Because he likes the city. His wife loves the city. He's from there. I just think that the Bulls have a shot because it seems like him and Tibbs have a great relationship. Joakim has been trying to recruit him. He likes how the Bulls play. He knows that Derek's coming back next year. And if he knows also his career is getting really a little long in the tooth, and his career is going to be marked as a failure if he doesn't grab a championship before he retires. And this probably would be his best chance to do that if he teams up with Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose, Jimmy Butler, Kirk Heinrich, and an assortment of other role players.
And this is Herb Lawrence on the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. And now, Herb, I want to get your take on this. After the great year that Joakim Noah had, why is he having so much trouble against Nene in this matchup?
Nene Hilario is a great offensive player. I didn't know he was this good defensively, but he's a dog. He's an absolute beast on the low block. He's probably a wide body that gets into Joakim's psyche. It's like, man, this man is no joke as far as being on top of me, a grown man just being, put his whole body on me. And also they know that some of the offense the Bulls run is the high screen roll, the high-low game with Joakim and Booz or Joakim and Taj. And so they're probably saying, if there is an offensive player that's going to beat us, it's going to be Joakim, so let's make a concerted effort when he goes on the screen roll to guard him and let DJ Augustin beat us. And you've seen the first game, I think DJ Augustin shot 3 of 17. That's because he was left alone. He was the guy, and they dared him to go to the hole. And when they went to the hole, Marcin Gortat was there to block a shot. Daniel Hilario was there to block a shot. And when he did take a shot, he was broke. This last game was a little better, 10-22 shooting, but that's their plan, to have Joakim not beat them, especially on drives to the cup, especially when he hands off to or does a screen with DJ Augustin, and then they guard him. They double down on him and let other people beat him.
So now, who do you think is going to win this game tonight? Do you think the Bulls are going to win and have a good showing, or do you think that the Wizards take a 3-0 lead?
Sad to say, I think the Wizards, throughout the season, the 3 games they played, the Wizards dominated the first 2 games, and the Bulls beat them pretty badly in the third game. And we're seeing that this Wizards team is not better than the Bulls. Sometimes there's matchups where that just works out for you. I think the Wizards are just a horrible matchup for the Bulls. When Brooklyn started tanking and the Heat started tanking to get a matchup versus each other to miss the Bulls in the second round, or in the Nets case, to miss the Bulls in the first round, it was the worst matchup for the Bulls. I think they thought they lucked out because they don't have to play the veteran-laden Nets, but I think that team is a little bit more suited to the Bulls' style. They can stop what they do there. But this team is deadly. I mean, saw what Bradley Beal was doing late in the game,
right,
filling it up, making tough jumpers. John Wall getting into the middle, penetrating, kicking it out for guys like, Trevor Ariza had early success and then did some good defense on the perimeter the whole game. You just have a bunch of guys who are not stars, except for John Wall, who might be, and Beal might be, but they're not stars now, but they just play well together. And tip of the cap to Randy Whitman to having this team playing how they're playing versus the Bulls, and I think they're going to go up 3-0 and close it out on Sunday.
What is your take on John Wall? Could he ever be a top-tier player, like maybe next year after this breakout series, possibly?
Indeed. I think John Wall's getting up the point guard standings right now. He's doing mad work with this team, where this team last year was nowhere near how good they are now. He's doing it with people who spare parts like Martell Webster and Trevor Booker from Clemson, Andre Miller coming off the bench, giving them good minutes. And I think out of the two, though, John Wall and Brad Beal, I think Bradley Beal is going to be the ultimate star of that group. This team's got something going, and it's going to be scary to face them years coming down the road if they stay together.
Now, before we let you go, where can people find your work online and on the radio?
Well, on Twitter, it's Ecknerwall23. Ecknerwall is Lawrence spelled backwards.
Yes.
23. And on Facebook, Herb Lawrence. That's my name. And I think there's only one of me here. So, brown guy. Not the. Actually, there's two of us. There's an Arkansas State professor. I'm not that guy. I'm the other guy.
Okay.
Well, Herb, have a good weekend, my man. And here's hoping that the Bulls and the Hawks get some wins this weekend.
Indeed. Thank you, Ryans.
Thanks, Herb.
Thanks.
See you, man.
Bye.
And that was Herb Lawrence, a 670 to score, as he came on the Illinois Center for Broadcasting hotline to talk about the Bulls and the Hawks. What is your take on what he said?
I thought that his points about the Bulls were pretty much spot on, where, this is a horrible matchup for the Bulls because the Wizards are just a really good offensive team. They can explode at any time. You got John Wall, Bradley Beal, and then you got the inside presence with Marcin Gortat and Nene, who's been playing like a beast. And, of course, he was out for, like, a lot of the season, if not all of the season. And he came back for the playoffs, and that just isn't a good thing for the Bulls.
And why are people surprised that Nene's a good player? Like, I'm asking Herb Lawrence and Rafer Weigel this because I'm surprised that Noah's not playing better against Nene. Mm-hmm. People who are bandwagoners are so surprised that they are doing so good against Noah, like Nene. Like, he was a good player on the Nuggets all those years they would choke in the first round, but he was always a good player for those George Karl Nugget teams.
Yeah, he was, but, Joakim Noah should be able to control it more than he has been. And I think for this game that'll be tipping off in, about 2 hours, it's going to be really interesting to see how Noah responds because they're going to be away, so everyone's going to be yelling at Noah. You're not defensive player of the year, or whatever he got, because he got defensive player of the year earlier this week, right?
Yeah, and they're playing in Washington, so all those fake Wizard fans that weren't there when they were bad, but all of a sudden they're there and you're like, yeah, you're not defensive player.
I think they're Washington Bullets fans still, but yeah, it's going to be real interesting. But I do think the Bulls win this game because I just think the Bulls are too good of a defensive team to go down 3-0, and eventually your hot shooting is going to run out for Washington, and the Bulls are going to be able to post up and stop them.
And going back to another point that Herb had about Boozer, when people were surprised that, people thought he was going to come in here and just dominate, and Boozer's always been Boozer.
Yeah.
Ryan, let's go back to 2010. Boozer was a consolation prize. Do you remember all the free agents that year? LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Joe Johnson, Kevin Durant was a free agent. I know this real quick because that was after he lost to the Lakers in 7 games in that first-round series.
Yes.
That Lakers won. That was the last time they ever won. People thought that he might leave Oklahoma City, but he ended up not leaving, and he just signed that contract without having a decision. Just on Twitter, I'm staying in Oklahoma City. He wasn't like LeBron where he had a big...
Which was the right move for them, because even if they don't win this year, they will win the championship.
Yeah.
And I want them to win the championship because I really like Kevin Durant.
But going back to my point, they couldn't get Joe Johnson. They couldn't get LeBron, King James. They couldn't get Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, or Chris Bosh.
I'm kind of surprised that no one wants to play with Rose.
That's what I'm saying. It's amazing. And do you know what else is amazing?
What?
They couldn't even sign Amari. I get that he would have been a bad signing, but at that time...
Signing Boozer was better than signing Amari.
I know that, but at that point, signing Amari was like signing a top-tier player, and he didn't want to come here. I'm glad he didn't come here, but at the same time, he didn't even want to come here, and at that point, He was a great player that just came back from almost beating the Suns in 7 games. So you couldn't get 6 of the top free agents, you knew you had to settle with Boozer. Yeah, it made more sense to get Boozer than Amari now, but at that time, we all wanted Boozer. We all wanted Amari. Nobody wanted Boozer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
I'm glad we didn't get Amari, but trust me, the fact that we didn't get those 6 free agents shows that Derrick Rose goes, yeah, if you want to come here, that's cool, but I'm going to sit back here and be this team.
Well, I think he's...
too timid.
Well, he is sort of... And, I'm a huge Derrick Rose fan, but he is sort of a ball hog when it comes to to late game situations.
Yeah.
Where, if you remember the 2011 playoffs, they pretty much put the ball in Derrick Rose's hand in that Game 5.
Ronnie Brewer was open in Game 4. Ronnie Brewer was open. He's good at elbow jumpers. Shoot it to him.
Yeah, and it just kind of sucks because you pretty much force Derrick Rose to do everything
against a 6'8" LeBron James as
and
well.
when you force one player to do everything, you turn out like the Thunder did last night with Durant and Westbrook that kept forcing the ball in.
Wow, that was bad. That was really bad.
I know, and it was bad.
All right, if you want to call the show and talk about that, like maybe go back to 2010. How mad were you when they got Boozer and not the other 6 top-tier players, even though it made sense that they got Boozer now and not Amari? 630-403-5200. Good point. He probably won't come here. He'll probably go to the Lakers. That's 630-403-5200. And tweet at me, at HoppyRadio893, and tweet at SuperRich, at Ryan Stuprich, STUP Rich. We will be right back to talk some more Chicago sports, break down the Bulls and Hawks playoff games tonight after this on the Friday Sports Riot. Hang on.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.